Obviously, I think the media day is that kickoff for all of us as coaches in relation to getting started and knowing it's right around the corner. A week from today, our players report. We're certainly excited about this season. I think we've had a very, very good off season in relation to the competition. We're a deeper football team that I think than what we've been in the past, and we've got obviously a very, very challenging schedule this year, and we're excited about some of those opportunities. I think the big question for our football team probably is at quarterback, and I don't know that that's been decided. It won't be decided until actually we let them compete here in spring in the preseason camp. But it should be an interesting competition based off of the work ethic of the players. I'm happy to report that even going into summer school, that all of our players are already academically eligible, and so we don't have to worry about any of those type of things. We had all 85 of them in our first session of summer school, and they worked hard. This group will put their hard hats on and go to work, and so we're excited to get started. And as coaches, and I think even for our players, and they'd probably say the same thing. We can't get started fast enough. Questions?
What's the biggest challenge you feel for this team?
Well, I think twofold probably, in the sense that I think our conference is very, very competitive. I think that there's significant athletic parity within our conference, and so consequently, you have to stay healthy and you have to be prepared emotionally to play every week. And then our out-of-conference schedule, I think, is relatively daunting this year in relation to the out-of-conference people that we play. The other thing, obviously, is I think there's 5 teams this year that have open dates prior to open Saturdays prior to playing us, and so we know that we're going to get very, very healthy teams and teams that are a little bit more ready. And so we have to, I think, in preseason camp, we have to do a great job of creating enough information for our players to digest, and so that we can be very, very multiple. And then I think the other thing, obviously, and this is probably on most everybody's mind, is the post-Colton Browning time frame. And what is that going to look like? We've certainly had to play without him a little bit, and he was never healthy really last year. But there'll be a little bit of a new identity for us on offense, and we're going to miss Colton immensely. He was a tremendous player for us. We designed the whole offense basically to fit him, and now our offense will change a little bit because that guy doesn't come around very often, and so we'll have to rely on, I think, more of our players to make plays for us this next year than just letting Colton kind of go back there and run around. So we'll have a little different offensive identity, but we're excited about that too. I think it kind of brings you back a little bit to some normalcy in terms of football. So we're excited about that. I think that obviously, right now, college football is in a makeover. We all understand that, from the power conference autonomy, which I understand some of what drives that. I also understand that there's certain financial things that are out there. There's certainly enough litigation out there to keep every lawyer in the country busy. And all of those things, I think, are shaping college football as we move forward. And I think it's going to be very significant as in looking at all of those variables as entities such as ULM, conferences such as the Sun Belt, and everyone else, to take a really an overview rather than just a snapshot. We need more of a portrait of what is the vision in this thing. What's it all need to look like? I don't have that. I don't have the information for that vision. I know that the powers that be do. But I do think it's going to be real significant as we move forward the next 5 years. Obviously, the last 5 with the conference shakeups that we've seen is driving some of this too. And I think that there's still opportunities that are going to be out there for all conferences in relation to that moving forward.
Coach, with the coaches electing their favorite, so to speak, what's the key to them living up to that this season? What do you see with that?
Well, I think that, as I said last year, and I've said every year since I've been at ULM since 2010, I think that if you go back, as I did in 2010, not even having been in the conference, and you go back and you look at who wins the conference, it's traditionally that team that's the most mature that stays healthy. And I think that there's no question that that is the key. We had some high expectations last year. I didn't always play the way we wanted to. Some of that was driven by some of our health in relation to the turnstile that we had at receiver and the quarterback situation and all that. And obviously, we've got a bunch of great coaches in this league. I've got ultimate respect for all of those. Mark's done a wonderful job there. And they have got a lot of returning starters, but in the same sense, too, you know, as they had some injuries late in the season last year, they were impacted by that. I think if you go back and you chart Arkansas State and you look at their starting 11 on both sides of the football over the last several years, they have been the team that has been the healthiest, and good for them. Whatever they're doing is working. They've stayed healthy, and they've been a relatively mature team because they've had some depth, and so obviously they have hit that mark. And for all of the rest of us that haven't attained that yet, then I think that that's a key for us too. I like our team this year, I really do. But I know too, based off the past 2 years, we have to stay healthier. We're deeper than what we've been in the past, but we've had some issues, and we're hopeful that the new turf is going to help some of that, because we've certainly had an uptick in lower body injuries on our own turf in terms of percentage, and our new turf should help that dramatically, because we've had way too many guys be sidelined, and whether it be turf related, I don't know. I just know that the percentages on our injuries on our own turf were substantial in relation compared to other universities and other surfaces. And, yeah, I did. You know, obviously those aren't. I think it's so significant as a coach to have credibility, and I want to always have that, because the moment that you have that, then the players start taking ownership. They take ownership in you, they take ownership in themselves, and they take ownership in the program. They feel like they're part. If you have those kind of visions out there for them, they become part of the bigger identity, and I think that's really important in relation to establishing the right kind of culture. I think we have that going in the sense that we have credibility with our players, and I think moving forward, those players then sell the culture, and they sell us where we don't have to do those things. They sell our credibility. One of the things in relation to announcing our new facility was we obviously it's the university, the state is not having to pay a dime into this, just like the turf and the scoreboard and all of that has been through private donations, which we really appreciate, but we have not been a tax on our own institution as a whole. And we're excited about announcing this facility. It's been something that we've desperately needed. When you look back at our current locker room was set up for 65 players for a 1AA program, an FCS program. And, you know, when you start putting 105 guys into a room that was designed for 65, it can get a little bit awkward after practice. Now, quite honestly, I've got 2 coaches that are actually in closets because we had no other space for them. That's where their offices are, and that's not conducive for recruiting or for even not just recruiting players, but recruiting coaches. And so these are things that were desperately needed. Quite obviously, they were things that should have been done 15 years ago and had not been done. And so we're very, very excited about that. The fact that we know that we're going to get started on it obviously is really significant, because we've all seen programs out there that have the blueprints and have the drawings and have the bulldozer parked out there, and then obviously somebody forgot to get the key for the bulldozer, because nothing ever moves on the bulldozer for 5 or 6 years as they're trying to make something happen. And I think you can lose credibility as a program when those kind of things are happening. And for us, I think that's significant.
What's the next step for you guys as a program?
Well, obviously, we haven't attained all the things that we wanted. Those are well stated out within our players. You know, I think that wins tend to take care of themselves if you tend to take care of playing well and preparing well. And so that's kind of how we approach things. You know, our players, I think there's 2 really significant phrases that kind of state who we are as a program, and one of them is that kind of put a ball down mentality. We obviously know that we're going to have to play against some difficult people, and we just are anxious, regardless of who we play, just to put a ball down and let's play. And that requires some responsibility, and kind of intertwined in that is We have a saying that we didn't come here to play, that we came here to win. And I think that that's significant for us, not just in football, but in life as a whole, because you have to kind of get up and be prepared to win every day. And we've got to keep that being a part of us. And I think that is a part of us. I think both those things are very much a part of the culture of our team and kind of intertwined with, it runs through every fiber in our body, so to speak. But obviously we haven't won a conference championship. We haven't won the bowl game. These are things that we have some expectation to do. It's very difficult in this conference because of the parity. But we are excited about those opportunities and know that this is going to be a huge challenge again for us this next year.
You mentioned some of the big opponents you guys are playing. Obviously, one of them going to Baton Rouge, playing LSU.
Sure.
How about that opportunity for the program? And what do you think that'll be like for your players?
Well, it'll be exciting. I think if you look back at Ray Stofall, for instance, in our program currently, a linebacker that's played a lot of football for us over the last several years. But he's played against LSU. He's played against Auburn and Arkansas and Florida State and Oklahoma and Baylor and Iowa and TCU. And so I guess my point in that is because we recognize the challenges, but we're also used to those challenges. We're used to going in those kind of environments. And we treat it like we do every other ball game, quite honestly. And I think that gives you an opportunity to keep you a little bit grounded. I think that last year, for whatever reason, in the first ball game against Oklahoma, defensively we played really well, and obviously Colton Browning got hurt early in the game. But I felt a little bit more strain on the guys than I've seen in the past from them, and we've never really strained along those lines. We've just kind of always smiled and said, let's go play ball. And maybe the pressures from the earlier season had done that to us. And I think we've talked about that openly with our players, and I think we've got to get back to that mode of, just let's go out and play ball. But we're looking forward, obviously, to LSU, but we're also looking forward to all the rest of our games, and we'll play them one at a time. I know it's coach talk, but it's true, and try to enjoy each one of those moments and try to get better on a weekly basis.